Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Friday, November the 19th. We got a 9-game Friday night slate. As always, guys, we are going to go game by game, and we're going to talk through each game on the slate, break down each team, kind of give my quick and early thoughts, what does stand out to me looking at the slate on Thursday night. And then as we do go through each game, we'll kind of build out an early core, 5 guys that I do like at first look. Now, always, these are my first looks of the slate. I say this in every video. With a sport like NBA where there's news coming out during the day, guys will be ruled questionable. You always have to pay attention to injury updates. You can't just set your lineup and forget it. In a sport like NBA, you got to be paying attention to news, to starting lineups. Things can change with the click of, with a click. Like a guy can get ruled out, and that can completely change the slate. So, the early core I give out in this video is just kind of a first look. If you guys want more of my updated content, I do provide a lot more of that over on Patreon, which is linked down below in the description. You can get access to my full updated core plays, get in our Discord chat where you're able to ask me questions basically anytime. I'm pretty active in Discord. I can usually always answer your questions pretty quickly. Also do rankings where I list off my top 20 plays of the day in order for both DraftKings and Yahoo. I do my positional plays as well, where I list off my favorite plays at each position, color code them based on how they rank. All that's available on Patreon. I also do give out some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks. And for those of you that have not signed up for Prize Picks yet, they are the sponsor of this video. You guys can check out Prize Picks, link down below in the description, or just when you do sign up, use code NOAH, and they will match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100. You can take a look at what Prize Picks has to offer. They're more of a player prop based DFS site where you're picking the over or the under on players' projections. It is very simple. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10x your money over on Prize Picks. They have a ton of sports. You can mix and match sports. They don't have anything for NBA yet, but they'll obviously get NBA stuff posted probably early Friday morning. So you can check out their NBA board. You can make some picks for yourself for tonight's games and potentially win 10x your money on Prize Picks. So if you guys want to sign up, if you have not yet, use code NOAH and they will match your first deposit, give you a free bet up to $100. But let's take a look at Friday night slate. We're going to start off with the Pacers and Hornets game. So looking at Charlotte today, or Indiana we'll start off with first. Looking at Indiana here, like they've been a team that so far this season I really haven't been on. It feels like almost every slate, most of the Pacers guys are priced correctly. I will say that this is a really good matchup against Charlotte. Charlotte has been playing at a really fast pace this season. They're playing at the 4th fastest pace in the league. And in terms of defensive rating, they have been bottom 10 in defensive rating as well. So guys like Sabonis and Brogdon and even LeVert, like they all have upside here. But again, it comes down to price point. I will say that Domantas Sabonis at 8,900, Sabonis has definitely been underperforming this season. He has not been the fantasy stud that he was last year, but he's still getting all the opportunity. He's still playing a ton of minutes. He still has upside. The matchup against Charlotte is really good. Earlier this year, Sabonis did go for 55 DraftKings points in 39 minutes against the Hornets. The Hornets have always been a team you can kind of attack down low with big men. Like they don't really have any good defensive centers or defensive big men in general. So I think Domantas Sabonis is my favorite play from Indiana. I think he will be pretty low owned on a bigger slate like this. I definitely like him. I think Brogdon's an okay tournament play. He, for the most part, feels priced right, but still, there's upside here in a good matchup against the Hornets. But that's probably it from Indiana. I will say that Keelan Martin did start last game in place of Chris Duarte. He played 27 minutes, but he wasn't really that productive, just 15 DraftKings points. For 3,400, if he starts again, he'd be an okay value play, but on a 9-game slate, I have a feeling that we're going to get better value open up as the day goes on. So that's it for Indiana. Now on the Charlotte side, it's kind of the same thing with Charlotte. For the most part, everyone on this team feels priced where they should be. LaMelo at 10,400. Look, LaMelo has a ton of upside. On a 9-game slate, I don't think LaMelo is going to be someone that I prioritize getting in today because you have Jokic, you have Giannis on this slate, you have the Lakers guys, you potentially could have Steph Curry. We'll have to wait and see if Curry plays or not. But yeah, it's just tough to prioritize LaMelo at 10,400. Same could be said for Miles Bridges and Gordon Hayward at their price points and Terry Rozier as well. I will say that, this is a matchup against the Pacers where Mason Plumlee is going to have to play a lot of minutes just because we know this Pacers team, they do play big. They're going to have one of Sabonis or Miles Turner on the floor at all times. I think we get like 30 to 32 minutes from Mason Plumlee if he's not in foul trouble. Foul trouble's kind of always been an issue for him, but if he can stay out of foul trouble, he does have the potential to play like low to mid 30s minutes. He's only 4,700. He did play 32 minutes last time these teams faced off, had 30 DK points. Mason Plumlee might actually be my favorite play from Charlotte if I had to play anyone here. And then like Kelly Oubre coming off the bench. He's going to be a risky option. You're going to see Kelly Oubre put up big games this season, but you're also going to see him disappoint a lot. It's going to depend on how he's playing. Some games he'll get like close to 30 minutes if he's playing really well. Some games you'll see his minutes, maybe in the low 20s. A riskier GPP play, probably not someone I'd be going to on a big slate like this. But Mason Plumlee, I think, is a pretty decent value play at 4,700 if you are paying down at center. But next game, the Warriors and the Pistons. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the status of Steph Curry. We did just get word that Curry's status is uncertain for this game. He was questionable for that game on Thursday against the Cavs. He ultimately wound up playing, and he had a really good game. I think he scored like 40 points and finished with like over 50 Draftkings points. Curry looked healthy in that game. I didn't watch any of that game, but just based on the box score, I'm assuming Curry was fine. But this is a back-to-back, and they're playing the Pistons, which kind of makes me assume that Steph is going to be out today. This will just be something to monitor. For now, I'm not going to include any Warriors guys in my early core. But again, if you want my full updated core plays, those will be posted on Patreon. I usually post them about an hour before lock. If Steph does get ruled out, though, there will definitely be a good amount to like from Golden State. Now, Draymond Green, we kind of talked about this in yesterday's video. I don't think Draymond really benefits when Steph is out. He's actually been worse throughout his career when Steph is off the floor. Draymond doesn't really create his own shot. He kind of relies on assists and rebounds and defensive stats to really put up big games. So I don't think Draymond would get a massive boost, but I think Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole would both get bumps. Jordan Poole specifically would be a really good play at 6,100 if Steph is out. He would be, the primary guy to take all the shots to, he'd be the primary offensive scorer. I would say he should be the guy that would lead the team in usage as well. And so far this year, Jordan Poole has had a 35% usage rate in 179 minutes played without Steph Curry. So Jordan Poole at 6,100 in a really good matchup against Detroit. Detroit, they play pretty slow, but they're a bad defensive team. So I would like Jordan Poole a lot if Steph is out. I would like some of these cheaper guards as well, like Gary Payton and Damian Lee could be viable cheap plays. We'll have to wait and see what other value opens up as the day goes on. But if we do get no Steph, I think we could look to guys like Gary Payton and Damian Lee for value. The Warriors, they do kind of spread out the minutes between all their bench guys, but I would assume, both those guys would probably see increased minutes, especially because Steph, he plays a ton of minutes every night. Getting him off the court, getting him out is going to allow for more minutes for guys like Gary Payton and, Damian Lee. But definitely just kind of a wait and see here. Tough to really break down this team right now until we do get, news on Steph. On the Detroit side, though, Detroit, they're probably one of the more unappealing teams to roster. Rarely am I just loading up on Detroit guys. I doubt I'm going to go to a ton from Detroit here. Cade Cunningham, I still do have some interest in. Cade Cunningham is finally starting to, really show out. He's been good back-to-back games. He's been getting big minutes too, 35 and 34 minutes, 51 and 41 Draftkings points. He's shown triple-double upside. He's been scoring, been getting rebounds, been getting assists. He was 2 rebounds and 2 assists shy of a triple-double against Sacramento, and then last game against Indiana, he was 2 rebounds and 4 assists shy of a triple-double. He's got 50-plus point upside. At the beginning of the year, we saw Cade Cunningham really struggle, but now he's starting to find his form. He still hasn't been shooting the ball that well, but he's been playing a ton of minutes. He's been getting peripherals along with the points. He might be my favorite play from this Detroit team if I had to play anyone here. I think Isaiah Stewart is a pretty decent value play at 5K. The matchup against the Warriors, I don't really like. The Warriors are a team that they do play pretty small. They're going to have Draymond at center a lot. I don't know if this is a spot where Isaiah Stewart really needs to play minutes, just because they're not going to really have a traditional center out there for him to guard. But without Kelly Olynyk, the minutes should be there for Isaiah Stewart. He's at least going to get probably low to mid 20s. Last 3 games, he's played 32, 27, and 32 minutes. He's another guy that kind of really struggles with foul trouble, but if he can stay out of foul trouble, you probably will see close to 30 minutes from Isaiah Stewart. Again, I don't know if he's going to play a ton just because they probably won't need him out there. This is a game that could go small. We could maybe see Jeremy Grant playing some, small ball lineups where they play him at center. But Isaiah Stewart at 5K, if he does get near 30 minutes, he's pretty likely to pay off this price tag because he is a pretty productive player when he's on the floor. But that's probably it from Detroit, I think. Moving on to the next game, we got the Lakers and the Celtics. So we got report earlier this week that LeBron is potentially going to play. He's going to make his return here against Boston. It was reported that he may be able to make his return. He's officially questionable. If LeBron does play, it's going to be really tough to roster any of these Lakers guys. Obviously, LeBron is just, he's a really high usage player. He's a ball dominant player. We kind of saw at the beginning of the season when it came to AD and Westbrook, it was very tough to predict when you would get big games from AD or big games from Westbrook. Can AD still have a big game if LeBron plays today? He absolutely can, but it's just, it's a lot less likely, and it's going to be a lot harder to predict when he does have a big game. Whereas when LeBron's out, you just know that all the usage is going to go through Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook, and those are going to be the two guys that really show out, and the offense is going to run through those two. So if LeBron winds up playing today, I'm probably off like all the Lakers. THT has been a really good value play lately, but now his price is up, and now LeBron potentially could be back as well. I still do think THT is going to play a lot, but I don't know if he's going to be nearly as productive playing alongside LeBron too. So if LeBron plays, I'm pretty much off all the Lakers. If LeBron remains out, then I think AD and Westbrook are definitely playable. I don't know if they would be like priority plays for me in a tougher matchup against the Celtics, but I think they would be playable. Same could be said for THT. I mean, THT has been so good to start the season. 27, 42, 52 DraftKings points. He's played massive minutes in back-to-back games. Again, for THT to be a play at this price tag, LeBron's going to have to be out. Like, I'm not going to pay nearly $6K for THT if LeBron's in. But if he's out, you could definitely consider THT even at 5,800. That's probably it, though, for the Lakers. If LeBron returns, man, it's going to be tough to really prioritize anyone from the Lakers on this slate. And then on the Boston side, potentially could be the same for Boston. Like, I've kind of been on these Boston guys a lot lately, Tatum and Horford and Schroeder, but Jaylen Brown could be returning. He's questionable for this game. He's been out for a while, but he has a chance to return here. And then Robert Williams was out last game. He's questionable once again for this one. Like, if Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams both play, I don't see much I like from Boston because obviously Tatum was priced up a lot for when Brown was out. He would probably be a bit overpriced for today. Jaylen Brown's almost 10K. It's going to be tough to play him in his first game back from injury if he's able to play. Al Horford, if Robert Williams is out, I think I would have a good amount of interest in Al Horford. Last game without Robert Williams, he did start at center, played 33 minutes, had 30 DK points. He wasn't that productive, but the matchup here against the Lakers, I think is pretty ideal. The Lakers defensively this year have not been great. They've been playing at a really fast pace. If Robert Williams is out, I think Al Horford's playable. Dennis Schroeder, I'm only going to consider if Jaylen Brown's out again. If Jaylen Brown plays, I have no interest in Dennis Schroeder. So really, this game in general, I'm not that high on, especially if LeBron returns, if Jaylen Brown returns, if Robert Williams plays. Like, this might just be a full fade for me. I just don't like much in this game, especially with when you look at the pricing. But next one we got is Orlando and Brooklyn. So looking at Orlando, they're another team I haven't really been on much this year. I haven't rostered many Orlando guys this season. Cole Anthony at 8K. Cole Anthony always has upside. He's shown a lot of upside this season. He is obviously, the one bright spot of this Magic team. On the road here against Brooklyn, this is probably not the best spot for Cole Anthony. This is another game that has, blowout potential. I could definitely see Brooklyn at home here just like beating the crap out of the Magic, and, maybe Cole Anthony doesn't really even play his full minutes. So at 8K, I'm not really that high on Cole Anthony. Same could be said for Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter. Both these guys have upside as well. They still have a pretty low floor for their price tag, like 6,700 for Wendell Carter. I mean, you're going to need probably close to 40 DraftKings points for him to be worth this price tag. Could he put up 40 DK points today? He absolutely could, but I think, he's not really a guy I'm jamming in. Same with Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba, this matchup against Brooklyn, I kind of do like. Like, Brooklyn's never really been a good defensive team against bigs. Again, it wouldn't be surprising to see Mo Bamba do well here. Is he a top play for me? No. There's a lot of blowout potential, but these guys are viable, I guess. They're just not like standout plays. I mean, Jalen Suggs, he's questionable once again, but I don't think it really matters. Like, Gary Harris has kind of been starting in place of Jalen Suggs, but Gary Harris is a very low upside. Like, he's just a low floor. He doesn't have any upside. He's just not a guy I'm really going to roster. RJ Hampton maybe gets a few more minutes without Jalen Suggs, but again, he's been coming off the bench, so it's really going to be hard to tell how many minutes he even gets. Overall, Orlando is just not that appealing of a team here. And then on the Brooklyn side, there are some guys from Brooklyn you can definitely play. Like, you got KD at 11.4, you got Harden at 11.2, but this is just a tough slate to prioritize KD and Harden, especially when you have Jokic, you have Giannis, you have Curry maybe if he plays. There's some other studs like in the late games, like you got Paul George, you got the Chicago guys without Vooch, you got Porzingis playing without Luka. Like, there's just other pay up options I prefer today. Could KD like just absolutely cook this Orlando team? I mean, he absolutely could. I will say that last time they played Orlando, it was a massive blowout. KD did not do well, but he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. I think Harden had a really good game in limited minutes. Yeah, Harden only played 30 minutes due to the blowout, but he did score 53 DK points. I mean, Orlando, they're a bad team. They're really bad defensively, but I don't think Harden or KD really are going to be guys I prioritize. I think they are a little bit riskier today just due to the fact that, this game does have a lot of blowout potential. And then, when you're looking for some of these cheaper Brooklyn guys, I think we can look to some value here. So Joe Harris is going to remain out for this game, which does really benefit Bruce Brown and Patty Mills. Last two games we've seen Bruce Brown play 27 and 28 minutes and been pretty productive, 31 and 32 DraftKings points. I don't think Bruce Brown's going to be a guy that averages, 30 DK points a game moving forward, but I think his minutes will be more secure without Joe Harris. I think it's a lot more likely he plays high 20s minutes compared to like low 20s. So for 4,200, like I think Bruce Brown's an okay value. I think Patty Mills looks like a pretty decent value play. 3,800 on DraftKings. He's really cheap. I do like him at first look. And he's also super cheap on Yahoo, just $12 over there. We've seen Patty Mills start the last 2 games in place of Joe Harris and play pretty big minutes. 32 minutes in a blowout against Golden State. And then last game against Cleveland, he played 35 minutes, 19 and 29 DraftKings points. Now, Patty Mills is one of these guys that, he's very scoring dependent. He's not really going to get you many rebounds or assists or defensive stats. He's going to have to knock down shots, but there's going to be opportunity. Obviously Harden and KD are going to dominate the usage, but there still will be opportunity for Patty Mills to get some clean looks. It's just going to it's really going to come down to, if he can make his shots or not, but he's a pretty good shooter in general. He's going to play a ton of minutes at 3,800. I mean, if you project Patty Mills for like 35 minutes today, he's going to project as a really good value play, and I think it's, likely he does see mid to high 30s minutes. So really like Patty Mills for value. I think Bruce Brown's in play as well. That's it for this game, though. Next one, OKC and Milwaukee. So this is once again another game that has a lot of blowout potential. This is a slate where there are a lot of games with blowout risk. This is one, it's going to be tough to really go to some of these OKC guys. Like SGA at 8,400, I mean, sure, SGA could have a good game here, but against this Milwaukee team that's really good defensively, this is a spot where SGA could probably just play like 30 minutes just because, after the end of the third quarter, the game's over. They're losing by 25, 30. I hate to predict blowouts, but this is a spot that you would expect, you would expect Milwaukee just to beat the crap out of OKC. Right now, Milwaukee's favored by 13.5. Just nothing really stands out from OKC. I mean, even if this game does stay close, I don't think really anyone from OKC is going to be a priority play for me just because where these guys are priced at, there's no glaring options in my opinion. Like the guys that have upside, SGA and Giddey, they're priced probably where they should be. And Bazley and Dort, their floors are pretty low. Lou Dort, I could see maybe doing well because they're going to need him out there guarding whoever, like Giannis or Drew or Middleton. When we get to the Milwaukee side, I have no idea what OKC is going to do here to stop Giannis. Robinson, Earl, Derek Favors, are these going to be the guys defending Giannis? Giannis could literally put up 70 in 3 quarters tonight, and I would not be surprised. But I'm not really looking to many guys from OKC. Now on the Milwaukee side, again, a lot of blowout potential here. It's going to be tough to feel confident in these Milwaukee guys just because there's no guarantee they even play in the fourth quarter. But man, Giannis has so much upside here. This OKC team is going to have no answer for Giannis. I don't know who they're going to put on him. It doesn't really matter. Giannis has massive upside. His price tag though at 12.3, that's a hefty price tag. Obviously Drew is healthy. Chris Middleton's come back as well. Now that Middleton's back, it's going to be tough to prioritize many bucks on this slate. It would not be surprising to see Giannis or even Drew do well. But Drew at 7,200, I don't really like now that Middleton's back. Middleton's probably going to be limited somewhat again, so I don't really want to pay 7,800 for him. Bobby Portis, his price tag is almost 7K now. He's been starting and getting big minutes, but he's 6,700, and the team's starting to get healthy again. So I don't really see much that stands out for Milwaukee today. Giannis, I think, is the best play here, but I'm definitely a little worried that Giannis doesn't play in the fourth quarter. I'm also worried that, with Middleton back, with Drew healthy too, that maybe Giannis' ceiling and his upside, it's not going to be as high. Still viable, but not a priority play for me, I don't think. So next game, we'll talk about the Clippers and the Pelicans. So looking at the Clippers today, you got Paul George coming in at 10,300. I think Paul George is a pretty good pay-up option here. Really good matchup. The Pelicans this year, not been really great defensively. They've been playing at a pretty fast pace as well. Paul George, going to play a ton of minutes, has a lot of upside. His ceiling, I would say, may not be as high as guys like Giannis and Jokic and even Curry, but you're also not having to pay $12K for Paul George. He's only 10,300, so you are getting a little bit of savings. I think Paul George is firmly in play on the slate. He's probably my favorite play from the Clippers. Reggie Jackson is as a mid-range guard option, I think is okay. Doesn't really stand out at his price point on a big slate like this, but playable. Same could be said for Eric Bledsoe. Nicholas Batum was out on Thursday. We'll have to keep an eye on his status for this game. I don't know if it's going to matter too much. Amir Coffey did start in place of Batum. I want to pull up the box score. I don't think Coffey really did that well. He was not really someone I was considering. Yeah, Coffey played 28 minutes, had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, and a block. So, yeah, even if Coffey starts again, he's cheap, but I'm not going to play him on a big slate like this. Luke Kennard got 24 minutes off the bench. He maybe benefits here without Batum. There's going to be more minutes available if Batum's out for guys like, Terrence Mann and Kennard. But really, I think Paul George is the guy that stands out the most here. I will say that Zubac probably gets close to 30 minutes here. They're definitely going to need his size out there against J-Val. I think if Batum's out, I think the center minutes will definitely be split between Zubac and Hartenstein. You'll probably see 28 to 30 minutes for Zubac and 18 to 20 minutes for Hartenstein. Zubac at 5,100 is an okay center play. I don't mind him. But Paul George is definitely the standout play from the Clippers. Now on the Pelicans side, you got J-Val coming in at 9,300. J-Val lately has kind of been underperforming for his salary. It's been like 4 games in a row now that he's put up less than 43 DK points, 42, 36, 33, 24 DK points. The matchup against the Clippers, I think, is pretty favorable. Like Zubac, Hartenstein, neither one of those guys are going to stop J-Val here. But now that Brandon Ingram is starting to get healthy and he's playing his full minutes again, that definitely hurts the upside on J-Val. That his usage is not going to be as high with Ingram back in the lineup. So I don't know if J-Val really stands out, but obviously, there's still upside for him. Same could be said for Brandon Ingram. He did get up to 37 minutes last game. He's pretty much off of his minutes restriction. He's going to play his full minutes here. He feels priced about right, though. Like, I don't think he really stands out at 8,200. And I don't think there's any standout plays in general from this Pelicans team. NAW, 5,600, maybe you could go to. But again, with Brandon Ingram healthy now, like that does hurt NAW a little bit. I still think NAW has upside, but he's going to be a very, kind of inconsistent guy. It's going to be tough to predict when he puts up his big games, but the opportunity will be there. He's going to play a lot of minutes as long as the game stays close. Don't mind him, but really no standout plays from this Pelicans team, I don't think. So we can move on to the next game, talk about the Bulls and the Nuggets. So on the Bulls side, we know that Vooch is going to remain out, which obviously, really going to benefit guys like DeRozan, Levine, Lonzo. We've kind of seen that these last few games without Vooch. All these guys have been playing a ton of minutes. All of them have been pretty productive as well. DeRozan's put up over 50 DraftKings points in two of his last 3 games. Again, playing a ton of minutes. Matchup against Denver might not be ideal. On the road against Denver is never, an ideal matchup. 9K for DeRozan as well. Feels priced about right, but definitely still playable because I think the upside is there without Vooch. And same could be said for Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, we haven't really seen a big 50-point game from him in a while, but we know Zach LaVine has that kind of upside. At 8,600, he feels priced correctly, but still playable. And then Lonzo, again, another guy that feels priced right. Like, I don't think he's a glaring value at his price point, but there should be more opportunity available for him without Vooch. He's going to play big minutes as well. No standout plays from this Bulls team, but definitely guys that I would include in my tournament player pool, like if I was playing a lot of lineups. Caruso had a really good game last game, but now his price is up to 5,400, so I'm just kind of off of Caruso. Tony Bradley, I don't know what they're going to do here going up against Jokic. I want to say that Tony Bradley is going to have to play, as many minutes as he can handle, just because, they don't have any other guys with size. The only other bigs they have are Alzay Johnson, and, that's really it. So I think Tony Bradley might play 30 minutes here. The matchup against Jokic is not good. There's definitely foul trouble concerns for Tony Bradley, but it wouldn't be surprising to see him play 30 minutes and put up a decent game. At 3,200, he could be a riskier, kind of GPP, low on value that is worth targeting. But I don't see too much that I love from the Bulls. Now on the Nuggets side, there's definitely some stuff I like here. Starting off with Jokic at 12K. Jokic I think is a really good pay-up option here. He was one of my favorite plays on Thursday night slate, and he did really well. I'm probably going to be going right back to him. We'll have to wait and see what kind of value opens up as the day goes on, but I think Jokic is a top stud once again. He's just doing so much for this Denver team right now. He's just stuffing the stat sheet every night. He's playing a ton of minutes every night. He finished Thursday night with 54 fantasy points, played 35.5 minutes, had 30 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and a block. Again, Jokic just stuffing the stat sheet, getting a ton of usage, a ton of opportunity. With this Bulls team not having Nikola Vucevic, again, they don't have anyone to stop Jokic here. It's going to be either Tony Bradley or Alzay Johnson. Maybe they put DeMar DeRozan on him. Good luck. The Bulls are not going to have an answer for Jokic. Love Jokic here. I think he's a top pay-up option once again. Will Barton played Thursday night. It was kind of a surprise to see him play. He was doubtful heading into Thursday. Then he got upgraded to questionable. He ultimately wound up playing. I don't think he did that well, though, or actually did do pretty well. So he played 34 minutes. He had 39 fantasy points, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. This is a back-to-back for the Nuggets, so keep an eye on his status. There's no guarantee that he plays today. Without MPJ and without MPJ and Jamal Murray, the usage on this team is going to be dominated by Jokic and Barton while MPJ remains out, and we've kind of seen that when both these guys have been healthy. 6,800, that feels like a correct price for Will Barton, but I think he is playable, especially if he does play, his 34, 35 minutes again like he did on Thursday night. So don't mind Will Barton. Like Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, I don't really have any interest in these guys. Whenever it was announced that Will Barton was playing, I pretty much was off of Monte Morris. He didn't do that well. He played 32 minutes, had 25 fantasy points. I just think his upside in general is not nearly as high when Barton is on the court. So I'm not really that high on Monte Morris. I think, Will Barton and Jokic, specifically Jokic, are the guys you want to target here. Jokic definitely the best play from this Nuggets team. But next game we got Toronto and Sacramento. So Toronto, another team on a back-to-back. We're going to have to keep an eye on the injury report here. OG Anunoby was out Thursday, and it looks like he's going to be out for a while. So I'm obviously OG is going to be out today. But Precious Achiuwa was out Thursday. We don't know yet if he's going to be out or not for Friday's slate. So just keep an eye on this. But with OG out, we kind of know where the minutes and the usage is gonna go on this Raptors team. It's gonna be Siakam, Van Vliet, Scotty Barnes, and Gary Trent, the guys that soak up all the usage and dominate the minutes. All these guys are probably gonna play close to 40 minutes if this is a close game. I think all these Raptors guys are playable. I wouldn't be like loading up on the Raptors on this slate, I don't think. But Fred Van Vliet is someone I do like. 8,100 on DraftKings. Really, really like him on Yahoo. I think Yahoo's where he really stands out. $30. Just way too cheap for Fred Van Vliet. Again, he's going to play a ton of minutes. He played 34.5 minutes on Thursday night slate against Utah, and I'm pretty sure he got pulled early in that game because it was a blowout. But he still had a massive game. 47 fantasy points, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Like, Fred Van Vliet's going to be super productive when he's on the floor. We know that. Going to have the ball in his hands a ton. Without OG, that's just going to allow for Van Vliet to get even more usage. Really, really good matchup against Sacramento as well. Sacramento this season, they've been a top 10 team in pace, and in terms of defensive rating, they have also been bottom 10 in defensive rating. So it's a really good spot for all these Raptors guys. I think Van Vliet's my favorite, but Siakam's definitely in play. Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent, they're viable as well. And then we could get some value once again from Toronto. So we did see Kim Birch start in place of OG. I'm assuming that if Precious Achiuwa is out again, they probably start Kim Birch again. If Precious Achiuwa plays today, then he will probably be the guy that starts. So again, we're going to have to keep an eye on the injury report. But if Kim Birch starts again, I mean, he's minimum salary on DraftKings. It sucks that he's center only. Like, you can't roster him at power forward. You have to roster him at center. But he still looks like a really good value, $3K on DK, and he's minimum salary on Yahoo, so he looks really good over there as well. He started, like I said, Thursday night against Utah, played 24.5 minutes, and I think he was in a little bit of foul trouble in that game. He finished with 24 fantasy points. If he starts again, he's going to be a pretty good value play, I would assume. We're going to have to wait and see what other value opens up as the day goes on Friday, but Kim Birch, I think, will project as a pretty decent value play, assuming that Achiuwa is out again. Now, if Achiuwa plays and he winds up starting, then obviously you could swap from Birch to Achiuwa, but we'll just have to keep an eye on the injury report here, see how things shake out. And if Achiuwa's out again, like, there could be more minutes available for Chris Boucher. I think he got like close to 20 minutes, I do believe, Thursday night. Let me see. Yeah, Boucher played 17.5 minutes. I mean, we know Boucher is a stat sheet stuffer. We know he's going to be really productive when he's on the court. He would probably get close to 20 minutes if Achiuwa's out again, so I think he'd be a viable dart throw. But obviously, Birch, if he's going to start, he would be the guy I'd want the most exposure to, I think. But on the other side, looking at Sacramento, there's not too much I love from Sacramento. This is another team that, for the most part this season, their price tags have been pretty, accurate, pretty correct. Like, there's never been any days where I felt like I needed to load up on Sacramento. But there are some guys here that you could see doing well, like De'Aaron Fox at 8,400. Obviously has upside. He's been really inconsistent this season, but we know the ceiling is there. We know he can put up 50 DK points any night. I would probably prefer Fred Van Vliet just straight up, but I think Fox is viable. The rest of the Kings, like, I'm not really that high on. Chibuze Metu, he's kind of been a popular value play these last few slates, but he only had 17 DK points last game, saw his minutes come down a little bit, played just 25 minutes. The price tag's up to 4,500. The minutes trended down last game. Like, these are times when I just kind of want to, get off of Metu. I've been on him these last few slates, but probably just going to shy away here, especially with the price up and with the minutes trending down last game. Don't really love him, so Fox is the guy that I think I'd be rostering if I was playing any Kings on this slate. Last game of the night, though, we got the Mavs and the Suns playing once again. These teams played on Wednesday, playing again here on Friday. We saw Wednesday, Luka was out, and heading into this slate, Luka has already been ruled doubtful, so I'm expecting Luka to be out once again. With Luka out, we know the guys that really benefit. It's Porzingis, it's Brunson, it's Tim Hardaway. Porzingis had a really good game Thursday in the same matchup against Phoenix. Put up 48 DraftKings points, played 32 minutes. Look, his usage, his just fantasy production does see a pretty big spike when Luka is off the floor. I think Porzingis, his price tag barely went up on DraftKings. I think he's once again a top play. I like him a lot on Yahoo as well. $34 over there. Price tag didn't go up enough, in my opinion. I think Porzingis looks great. I think Jalen Brunson, his price tag actually went up $1,000, so I'm not as high on Jalen Brunson today. He was only 1 assist and 1 rebound shy of a triple-double last game. Like, he could have put up a massive game. Probably could have put up 50 DraftKings points if he got the extra rebound and extra assist, because, then he would have got the double-double bonus and the triple-double bonus. But he played a ton of minutes. He's obviously going to be very productive without Luka. He's going to average probably a fantasy point per minute. For 6,700, though, he feels priced correctly. I thought he was a really good play last slate at 5,700. Now that his price has come up $1,000, doesn't stand out as much. And then Tim Hardaway at 5,500, he's another guy kind of similar to Porzingis. Like, his price tag barely went up. His price only went up $200. But again, he's going to get a lot of opportunity without Luka. Took 23 shots last game, which I believe is like the most he's took all season. Didn't even shoot the ball that well, just 39% from the field, 37% from three. Still scored 35 DraftKings points, 22 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Tim Hardaway, another guy that's kind of scoring dependent, but without Luka, there's going to be obviously more shots to go around, and Tim Hardaway is going to be a big beneficiary. He is going to be a guy that they kind of rely on to take shots, and we saw that last game with him taking 23 shots. So I think Tim Hardaway at 5,500 looks like a really good play. Luka, Brunson, Tim Hardaway, all firmly in play for me on this slate. And that's probably it from Dallas. I don't think I'm going to anyone else on this team. So looking at Phoenix here to end off this slate, Phoenix, kind of another team this year that I really haven't been rostering these Phoenix guys that much. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, at their price points, just don't really feel like standout plays. Booker at 8,700, you're going to need like 50 plus DraftKings points from him to be a good play at his price tag. Does Devin Booker have 50-point upside? He absolutely does. But I don't think he's going to be someone I prioritize today. Same could be said for Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton is 6,700. I don't mind. Last game, he did do really well in the same matchup against Dallas. Played 36 minutes, had 41 DK points. His price tag came up a little bit, but if we're going to continue to get 35, 36 minutes a night from DeAndre Ayton, like, we're going to see him put up 34 or 35, 40 DraftKings points, a lot this year. He's going to be a guy that consistently puts up 35 to 40 DK points. So still feels a little bit too cheap at 6,700. DeAndre Ayton's probably my favorite play from this Phoenix team, but I don't love too much here. Definitely most of my interest in this game is coming on the Dallas side with the guys that we just talked about. But that's it for this Phoenix game, and that's it for this slate, guys. I think we broke everything down, talked about this 9-game Friday night slate. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, please do, guys, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well if you have not yet. And check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Again, if you want to sign up for PrizePicks, use promo code NOAH. They will give you a 100% match on your first deposit, up to $100. Basically, they will double your first deposit. And you can take a look what PrizePicks has to offer. You can make some picks for NFL this week, obviously for NBA. If you want to do NBA, they have college football, they have PGA, they have every sport imaginable. So check out PrizePicks. If you do sign up, be sure use code NOAH. They'll match your first deposit, give you a free bet up to $100 when you sign up with my code. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.